go. All right, so we have our animated camera, and we have our animated text, and it's time to add some effects like particles. So we've been operating under the Mesh tab up here in the tool shelf, but we're going to scoot over to motion graphics, okay? And in the motion graphics tab, I want to click on this circle with the bubbles around it, and if you hold over it, it says emit from object. So I have my text selected. That's going to be the object that emits particles, okay? So once you click that, you've succeeded at it. You have particles coming out of it. Now it takes the computer a little while to render this, so as you drag through, if I go to the very end, it doesn't have as many particles as it's probably going to have if I let it work for a little while. And you'll see these swirls kind of coming around the particles. That is, that's because particles are coming out of the text while the text is moving around, right? And if you play it, it might be a little choppy, and it's still trying to render mine, so it's a little slow. The animation doesn't play in real time. But you notice how it looks like it's raining? Like it looks like particles are raining out of my letters. Well, that's actually kind of what's happening. What's going on here is over here in the attributes editor, you're going to be able to change a lot about how these particles come out. And by default, it emits 100 particles per second. And I believe it does that from each vertex. So each and every joint on the mesh. Now, if I scroll over to the nucleus tab, I'm going to be able to take a look at things that affect the physics behind these particles. Okay, so the rain type effect is due to the gravity. Anybody know why gravity is 9.8? Exactly. Yeah, so gravity in real life here on Earth is 9.8 meters per second squared. That's the acceleration of the Earth's gravity that you will feel on the surface of the Earth. Okay? Yes? So if you need to select the particles, kind of scroll through your timeline till you see particles, and then click in a cloud of them, and you should see a box around your whole rig here. Does that happen for you? Yeah, it did. Or no. Click in your cloud of particles. You're not clicking the text, right? Okay. I can't really zoom in on your screen because I have everybody's pulled up. I'll help you out in a second, okay? Okay, so under here, I can change the rate of how many particles come out under the emitter tab. Okay, so maybe I want to bump down to about 25, and you can start, go back to your beginning and preview this. It's looking a little bit better. But I really want these particles just to float around and be there because I'm going to probably make them emit light, okay? So under the nucleus, I'm going to turn my gravity down. I'm going to turn it to about 2. And if you look at the gravity direction, this is going to be X, Y, and Z. So if it's in negative Y, that's why the particles are being pulled down, right? Like they're being pulled towards the Earth. If you look down here at our little axes, Y is the direction that runs up and down, and it's pulling negative, so it's pulling down. So if you change that to 1, you could probably guess that once we render it here, these particles are going to actually start floating upwards, okay? If we change it to 0 and change this to 1, and I'm going to change my camera to be the other one, just my normal perspective camera, you're going to see that these particles are actually coming forwards, okay? There's also wind that you can play with. So wind speed could have an effect on this. So let me let the computer kind of catch up here. Wind blowing off, I believe it's to the right, is going to affect this quite a bit. So, computer has not caught up, so hang tight for a second. Now you see the wind blowing that, blowing those particles off to the right. Do y'all see that? It's moving off to the right and forward because I have gravity pulling it forwards with this axis, and I have wind pushing it off to the right on our x-axis right here. So you can adjust that wind speed up or down, you can adjust the gravity up or down, and you can adjust how many particles come out. There's actually a lot more adjustments available, but you're going to have to check them out because I can't sit and explain every single one of them on a reasonable timeline. But there are quite a few. These are the basic ones to get you rolling. Other than that, we're going to start coloring this and coloring the text probably tomorrow. So that means we're going to assign material attributes to this. If you take a look at this right now, when I render it, just a second, computer's working. You will see all these particles in all their glory, but they're all just white right now. So just a clue to tomorrow's goal, we're going to right click and assign a new material, or I'm going to use a favorite material here, the blend. And I'm just going to color it dramatically so that we know that we've got a different colored particle on our hands. And I'm going to click on render. And it's starting to look a little bit better, right? So, anyhow, in summation, if you don't have particles yet, click on your text, click on motion graphics, and click on that button, and you'll be started. All of your settings are in the attributes editor. Okay?